This is a special presentation from News Channel Nebraska.
This broadcast of the 2021 Unified Bowling State Championships on News Channel Nebraska is brought to you by Midwest Bank, Custom Sports of Norfolk, and by Liberty First Credit Union.
And welcome to Sun Valley Lanes and Games, the site of the 2021 NSAA Unified Bowling State Championships. Brandon Axament, John Lacido with you for the championship action tonight, and rather this afternoon, but we have a new format, John. We have Class B for the first time and Class A, so two championship rounds are about to take place today. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be some pretty good competition today, Brandon. I think we're going to see some pretty exciting matches. We saw some earlier today. A couple matches literally went down to a pin. So I think anything's possible, and I think we're going to have some good bowling here this afternoon.
Looking at that graphic, the day started with 16 teams. We're down to 4. So the Class B championships were about to take place, and then the A will follow. Class B, it is York and Ogallala who will be taking each other on for a chance at gold in Class A later on this afternoon. Millard North and Fremont. So we have an action-packed day ahead of us. And John, if you'll explain the rules for the viewers at home, it's Baker's best 3 out of 5.
Correct, Baker competition. So how this works, with a 3-person team, the first bowler, which is the athlete, will bowl the first, 4th, 7th, and 10th frames, and their partners will either bowl 2nd, 5th, and 8th, or 3rd, 6th, and 9th. You have those 3 players bowl those frames, and it'll total up to a traditional game of bowling like you would normally expect. Whoever wins 3 games first, they're going to be your champion.
And looking at this bracket, how these teams got here. Earlier today, there's a seeding round where everyone bowls, and then their pin total determines what seed they get. Based on that seeding round, it was chalk, John. Ogallala and York, the 1 and the 2 seed, and have advanced through the first 2 rounds to get here. Ogallala defeating Wayne 3-2, actually, in a close one. Wayne being the 8th seed, they just snuck by, dropped the first 2 games, rattled off 3 in a row to make it to the semis, and then they swept Northwest 3-0, and I believe that's what you were referencing. 2 of those wins were by the 1 pin for the Indians to get here.
Yeah, they've been fighting hard all day, and you're right. They were the number 1 seed early. They bowled to determine their seeding for the bracket, and they led it. Of course, York's in 2nd in the brackets from seeding. So you would think, well, these are the 2 best teams that we have here today, and it could be a nail-biter, really. And you're right, Ogallala has just been fighting hard, and they've basically earned their right to be here.
On the flip side for York, as the 2 seed, they defeated Waverly 3-0 in the first round, then took down Lexington 3-1 in the semis. So not nearly as much drama, at least it would appear, for the Dukes. And as a bowler yourself, how much could that weigh on the Indians, the emotional ups and downs in going 5 games in that first round, rather?
Yeah, Brandon, it could be tough. You know, when you come so close to not making it, you kind of get drained. So it'll be interesting to see how Ogallala responds to that. At the same time, York has been a perennial fighter in this competition the last several years. So I think the advantage might lend to them a little bit, but we'll see.
To your point, first year ever at state for Ogallala, and they make it to the championship. We are ready for Class B rounds between Ogallala and York. You're watching the Unified Bowling State Championships on News Channel Nebraska. We'll be back.
Alrighty, guys, anything else I can get for you?
I think we're good.
Okay, enjoy.
This looks amazing. Oh, he's with my bank. He gets a little taste of everything, all the time. Don't worry, you get used to it.
You should join Liberty First Credit Union. They have low loan rates, high deposit rates, and they share the profits with their members. So no one will take a bite of what's yours.
Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. When you want to wear your pride on your sleeve, true Nebraskans turn to NebraskaScreenPrinting.com for the latest screen printing and embroidery design. View hundreds of designs or upload your own for any school activity, sport, booster club, or business. We can do it all in whatever color your pride comes in. Get your group order in for your event or team at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com today for a fast and convenient turnaround. We're custom sports screen printing and embroidery at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com. Proud to be Nebraskan.
I was born and raised in Plainview. I grew up on a farm northeast of town. Was offered an opportunity to work for the bank in 2008. We had one kid at the time, another one on the way. Midwest Bank is very family oriented, to help make Plainview a great place to live. And so the opportunity to raise our kids in the town where my wife and I both grew up, where we feel safe, good schools, is just everything we were kind of looking for. I'm Kevin, and I'm proud to be a part of the Plainview community.
Welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes and Games. Brandon Axelman, John Lucido with you. We are moments away from getting this championship round started. A reminder that Unified Bowling on News Channel Nebraska, presented by Liberty First Credit Union. Find out more at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First, banking with purpose. Also presenting sponsors today, Midwest Bank, helping bring you this live coverage from Lincoln between York and Ogallala. Midwest Bank. And lastly, presenting sponsor, Custom Sports out of Norfolk. Custom Sports bringing you this bowling coverage. Well, we're about ready to go. York and Ogallala. We'll quickly run down the players on the team. First off for York, Shaylin Wall, Nick Syke, a late substitution in, Nate Christensen, Skylar Handy, and Shelby Logston for the York Dukes. And then the bowlers for Ogallala, Zachary Christensen, Joshua Christensen, Austin Hodges, Oliver Nielsen, and Braden Heilman.
Dukes on three. 1, 2, 3, Dukes!
Well, John, how are these bowlers feeling right now? Put us in their shoes if you could.
There's nothing more nerve-wracking than the first shot on TV. So once you get that first one done, it becomes much easier. But if you can get out of the gate strong, that helps a lot. So let's see how Ogallala gets started.
And that one, Zachary Christensen starting things off. Now on the flip side, Shaylin Wall for the Dukes. It's like 6 and 7.
Yeah, it's good. You can actually see him shaking his arms, trying to shake some of those jitters right out of him. But like I said, now it's going to be downhill. They'll be fine.
And first frame left open by the Indians there. Wall, we'll see if she can pick this one up.
Yeah, not an easy spare. The 2-4-5, she's a little left. Gets one, so they have an 8-6 lead. York jumps out early.
Now Joshua Christensen now following things up, who's cousin of Zach, who just bowled, a sophomore on the team. Now for York, Nate Christensen. So we have two Christensens for Ogallala, Nate Christensen for York, and he throws down the strike.
Yeah, Nate with a good shot there, high flush in the pocket, trips out the 4-6, actually avoids a bad break. A difficult spare here in lane 27, the 1-5. Got to hit it dead center, and he was just to the right of that.
So two open frames to start for the Indians. He had the one strike and then 9 following that one up, knocked down by the Dukes.
Good delivery, just a little high, leaving just the 4.
Austin Hodges now bowling for Ogallala.
Again, we see that a 2-4-5 on lane 27. Got to make sure that the ball doesn't chop off, what's known as a chop, off one of the 2 pins on the side. So just try to cover them all with the ball.
Shelby Logston looking for the spare, just missing.
All right, there he goes, a little bit right. But we start off with a 36-21 score. York in the lead by 15 pins through the first 3 frames.
Maybe John's seeing some of those jitters, just one closed frame out of 6 between the two teams.
Yeah, and that's just kind of happens, Brandon. It's just the nature of first time on TV. Now we're going to start to see some of the balls probably be a little bit better, a little closer. They start to relax.
So Zachary Christensen knocked down 9, looking for the spare here in the first closed frame for the Indians here in game 1.
Trying to get the kingpin, the 5-pin is what it's known as, and he covers up perfect.
Now York gets
Challenge.
2 of 3.
Yeah, the challenging spare there. It's also when you have the 2 pins in front, directly in front of each other, they're tougher spares to make.
How about a strike by Joshua Christensen? So bang bang for the Indians in 4-5.
Yep, now they're within 4 pins, Brandon. They just like that. The tide is turned, which happens in Baker bowling.
And that's not a fun one. This one have a name, John?
This one does not. It's just tough.
It's just no fun.
Yeah, the 2-4-8-10, it can be made. He just needs to get the ball to the far left of the 2-pin with some hook. He's got the hook, but too far to the left.
And so through 5, we are neck and neck. Ogallala about to finish up the 6th frame here with Hodges.
2 frames ago, York was up by 15. Now Ogallala is going to be in the lead. 8 count there will give them an 8-pin lead going into frame 6.
There's Logston for York. Big strike.
Great shot, great delivery, all 10 pins in the pit. Wonderful ball.
Zachary Christensen knocks down 9.
You can see the relief there in Zach's face. That ball going right through the heart of the pins tends to leave a split when that happens, but he got the 10 pin to fall late, leaves just the 4.
Here's Shaylin Wall, a ball right down the middle, and unfortunately for her, what you were just describing when you hit the head, that main pin head on.
Speak of the devil, Brandon. That's exactly what could happen. Very difficult to spare the 4-6-10.
Christensen, that Zachary picks up the spare.
Well, Ogallala is going to have a slight lead here, depending on how many pins she knocks down. She's doing the wise thing and getting just 2.
Oh my.
Almost gave it a run. Good for her.
And we have 4 left here for Ogallala.
Looks like a good shot. Yes, 10 pins in the pit.
Strike for Nate Christensen. Big boost for York. And nice spare pickup for the answer.
Yeah, that was a great pressure spare there for Ogallala to pick up. The 1-3-6-9 covered all 4 pins with the ball, which is the way to make that. They keep their 4-pin lead going into the 9th.
Another tough split. This time Shelby Logston will have to try to pick it up.
All right, she has the 2-4-10s, not as difficult as the spare we saw earlier, the 2-4-8-10. He gets the ball to the left side of the 2-pin. That's got a chance. Oh, close.
And so, John, do the score breakdown. We're almost through 9 now for Ogallala after this next bowl.
Pivotal shot here. If he can spare, they'll give them a good position going into the 10th. They got it.
Austin Hodges. So this is the 10th now for York.
York's going to need a mark. There's 8. That keeps them within this still. Let's see what happens here for Ogallala. Oh, that's going to be good. Nice.
So if Ogallala picks that up, does that seal the deal for York here in game 1?
Yes, absolutely. York's got to spare this to have any sort of chance. Got the right idea. Yep.
Nice play by Shaylin Wall to keep it alive for the Dukes.
Ogallala is going to win right there.
But Zachary Christensen closes the door. So game number 1, this is just for bonus of both spares, but as you mentioned, it'll be going to the Indians.
Yeah, Ogallala seemed to settle down the end of that game. They finished with 4 marks, which is a tough thing to do in Baker. New York's still trying to shake that first game jitters. 4 splits for York really kind of damaged their game score. So we'll see what happens in this next game. But Ogallala's taken the lead, 1-0.
Score in that one, 137 to 123. Indians out in front as we get ready for game number 2. So we'll be back with the second game right after this.
Over the past year, the Nebraska Strong Recovery Project has been working around the state to provide support to Nebraskans impacted by COVID-19, from educators and essential workers to farmers and factory workers. Together, we are Nebraska Strong.
I lived all over the United States for quite a long time. There I learned a lot more about fresh sustainability. There's a lot more you can do in a small community like this that has a ton of possibilities ahead of it. One of the biggest hopes I have for the area we're in is being able to build a stronger, bigger, more viable community.
And welcome back. Just getting into frame number 1 of game number 2. Ogallala taking the first 137 to 123 here at the Unified Bowling State Championships in Lincoln. Braden Axamit, John Lucido with you. John, what do you see from that first game between the two? We saw the jitters a little bit, both of them getting more comfortable as it progressed.
Ogallala has managed to keep their fighting spirit going. They fought back from some earlier matches today, and they've started out strong in the start of this match, winning the first game. But now we're kind of seeing they've switched lanes, so now they got to kind of learn what the different lanes doing. So we'll kind of see what happens here. And that's an example of that, Brandon. So the player coming onto this lane, the last game, he was what we call light in the pocket, just barely catching the head pin on the right. He's come onto this left lane, and now this lane must be hooking just a little bit more, and the ball goes through the nose.
Well, John, you know how I was fascinated last year. Let's talk about what we're dealing with. What patterns do we have on the lanes, and how are the players dealing with it, and what does that mean?
So different than this year's competition, we decided to put out a slightly tougher pattern this year. This pattern is called Beaten Path version 2, which is a Kegel standard lane pattern. It falls in the challenge series of competition. It's not the most difficult pro level type of competition, but it's not the easy regular bowl in your house bowl at night in league type of competition lane pattern. So scores are a little bit lower. We expected that. It's a little bit more challenging, but at the same time, if the kids bowl well, they'll score well. So we're interested to see kind of how this plays out this season, but that's what they're bowling on. It's called Beaten Path version 2.
And for those who are even less bowling professionals, what's a pattern and what varies how they have different names? How does that whole thing play out?
So similar to golf, Brandon, we put a conditioner on the lane, and depending how we apply that conditioner, it's called a pattern. That conditioner and the way it's placed on the lane will determine the scoring pace. So just like you could have a high rough and a skinny fairway, we can control the score some with how we put that conditioner out. There's certain rules and regulations that we have to follow, but they all fall into a standard that the United States Bowling Congress governs, and this pattern is known as a 6-to-1 ratio. Your normal house condition that you might bowl league on, that recreationally might be at a 10 to 12 to 1. The pros will normally bowl on 1 to 1 or 2 to 1. So there's the range. It kind of gives you an idea. It falls in the middle of difficulty.
Well, we're through 4 frames, and it looks like 13 points separating them. Ogallala with the lead currently.
You remember last game of the third frame, York had the 13-pin lead, and Ogallala came back to win. So let's see what happens this time.
Big strike by Nate Christensen there for the Dukes.
That's a key double for York. That keeps them in this.
Now we have Oliver Nielsen, son of Ogallala head coach Melinda Nielsen, rolling here in game number 2 for Ogallala. This is Logston.
That ball slightly high, goes through the nose, leaves the 3-6-10. Not an easy spare. Great cover by York, or Ogallala, sorry.
And Oliver, I'll have to give a thank to his mom, Melinda. She told me before this that everything he knows from bowling is thanks to her. She's very, very humble about her abilities, but he's extremely excited to be here as a freshman and a part of this state championship atmosphere.
Well, the double the York had gets them within 6, but Ogallala with a key strike there in the 6th frame.
That's Braden Heilman. And one other thing about Ogallala, Melinda Nielsen said we're rotating everybody in and giving everybody valuable playing time. And part of that is, too, she says we don't have really one horse on our team who's just always going to be the leader. It varies from literally game to game who could be that person with the pin lead.
Well, as cliche as it sounds, Brandon, there's no I in team. Obviously, the team needs to work together, even more so in Baker than traditional bowling. So the Baker competition really relies on the team gelling together and firing on all cylinders in order to score well.
Ogallala up 18 before this ball, and it's going to stay as 9.
Yeah, the wobbling 9-pin didn't fall for York. Key spare here for Ogallala. He gets it off the wall, helps keep their lead. Actually expanded their lead to 26 going into the 8th frame. Ooh, right through the nose, 3, 4, 6, 7. That's that case of where we see the more challenging lane condition doesn't allow the ball to skid a little extra long to let that ball go in the pocket. But Ogallala right in the same boat, Brandon, with another split, 6, 7, 10. Both splits can be made, but extremely difficult to do.
So Nate getting 2 of them. It's now 22 pin lead for Ogallala before this bowl.
Good thing to do there, gets just the 2 pins, keeps the count up, so they have a 24-pin lead going into the 9th frame. Ball's a little bit left, but goes Brooklyn, what we call a Brooklyn, Brandon. Ball goes, right-hander goes to the left side of that pin, gets a strike. That's called a Brooklyn strike.
And that was Shaylin picking it up, Brooklyn style. What? In terms of odds, I don't know if there is such a thing, but when you hit it from the Brooklyn side instead of the traditional side, how much of a difference does that make in the probability of it being a strike?
That's a great question, Brandon. Nobody's ever asked me that one.
I know it's less, or it seemingly is less.
It is, but the key thing is the ball tends to not split when that happens. So even if you might not strike, the chance of you getting a mark is probably better.
Well, both York and Ogallala with some closed frames. In fact, York with 2 strikes in a row. They're narrowing the gap here in the 10th.
That was a pivotal first strike by York. If they can do it again, they'll keep the match close. This could be, 5 pin. So we need at least 7 pins for Ogallala. There's 9, Brandon, that's a strike. Late falling 3 pin, they're gonna win game 2.
Zachary Christensen again coming up big in the 10th. This ball from Wall. Again in consolation, but Ogallala jumping out to a 2-game lead.
I wouldn't put York out of this yet, Brandon. We kind of see, looking at their score, that we see more marks for York. So I think they're starting to settle in. This double by Ogallala, they're going to be the high 170s, low 180s for this game, and that's good timing because York shot 157. But I don't know. They're riding high right now, so anything's possible. It should be a good game 3.
Well, Zachary Christensen going for the turkey here in the 10th frame. 1 pin shy, but more than enough to win game number 2. Your final score, 182 to 157. Ogallala Indians out to a 2-0 lead here in the championship. We'll be back with game number 3, live from Lincoln.
Hey, check this out. I can order ready-to-cook fresh meals from Venue delivered to my doorstep every week.
Thank you. Now all I have to do is pop it in the oven.
Literally as simple as that. It's easy to make time for family and a delicious dinner.
Welcome back. Preparing for game number 3 here of the Unified Bowling Class B State Championships here on News Channel Nebraska. Brandon Axemet, John Lasita with you at Sun Valley Lanes in games. And John, it's do or die now for York. It's the best 3 of 5, and Ogallala needing just one more game to seal the state championship.
Yeah, York's going to have a tough challenge ahead of them. Ogallala's been firing all the day, really, on all cylinders. So, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting match for sure. But I wouldn't put York out of this. They've been getting closer and closer over the last several years here. So I still think they might have some fight in them to get this done, or at least win this game.
And you saw probably in your screen, Zachary Christensen bouncing back and forth. He is feeling it right now. And he's one of those guys, energy guys, Coach Melinda Nielsen said, brings some humor, some lightheartedness to the team. And right now they're feeling good as we're officially underway here in game number 3. That's a good way to start it for York.
That's exactly what they wanted to do, put the pressure on early, but Zach's been tough all day. Oh, look at that 10-pin wobble and wobble and wobble, but it didn't go.
Skylar Handy now giving it a bowl for York, and look at that, 2 strikes right out of the gate for the Dukes.
York's doing exactly what they need to do, put some pressure on early, try to keep Ogallala on the straight and narrow. Nice try by Zach, just a little to the right.
Shelby Logston trying to make it a turkey.
Just didn't get out of that one clean. There was a little bit left of her target, caused the ball to go high, right through the nose. Difficult spare in the 3, 6, 9, 10. You got to get the ball hooking to go right to the right center of the 3-pin to cover all 4 of those pins. Spare for Ogallala is not easy either in the 1, 3, 9. So let's see what happens here. Got the right idea, but too much skid to the right.
First open frame of the game. And a big pickup by the Indians. Joshua Christensen. So York up 31 pins. They have bowled an extra frame. And it's back to Wall, who got a strike to start this thing.
Yeah, teams can bowl at their own pace. So if York gets a little bit ahead, it could be an advantage or disadvantage. Oh, we're gonna have to have a pin reset on lane 27. It looks as if the 7-pin has fallen over. The machine knocked that down. So we're gonna have that 7-pin set back up on 27.
So that applies to the Ogallala Indians. And so could York continue to bowl, or would they want to? And well, just like that, actually the pins reset. So that was quick.
Yeah, our chief technician has basically got nothing better to do than watch this pair of lanes right now. So that doesn't surprise me.
We're back in action. 1 pin stands there for the Dukes.
Well, that's a good try, just to the right. So Ogallala is down by about 21 pins, Brandon, going into frame 4. York is trying to maybe fight the jitters a little bit and just play their own game and bowl ahead of them.
Another mark, courtesy of Skylar Handy.
Good shot there. Another 10 pin. If he can get this spare, or the 10 pin, he'll bring his team within 10 pins. That's a better shot. A little to the right. Leaves the 1-2.
Here's Zach Christensen looking to pick it up and nails it.
Yes.
Fist bumps all around.
Yep, compensated from the last one. He missed to the right, made a little bit of a aiming change and gets the left side of the 10 pin. It's a spare, gets Ogallala right back into this.
And then follows it up with a strike, Joshua Christensen.
Yeah, that was a big strike by Ogallala. They're going to be within less than 10 pins going into frame number 6. They can take the lead if they can get a strike or spare on this ball.
So Oliver Nielsen, big opportunity here in frame 6.
Good shot. Oh, that's a bad break, Brandon. That 4-pin right around that 7. That should have taken that out. It's part of the breaks of the game when round objects hit other round objects, but still, right in this.
Can he pick it up?
I like it. Yes. Wow. So now they have a 4-pin lead going into frame number 7 as they approach their first Unified State Championship. It's an amazing thing, first time in the program.
And another open frame. The door is open for the 3-game sweep for the Indians. They split though.
Yes, he's left the 5-10. He's left the 10 pin in the last 2 frames, leaves the 5-10. Can make it, and he gets the ball to the left side of the 5 pin, have that slide right into the 10.
Well, here you go, Zach. Try to get that 5-10.
All right, gets 1. They still have a lead. It's by 2 pins. Difficult spare in the 3-6-9. Covers all 3 with the ball just like that. That was a great shot for York.
Skylar Handy with the big pickup.
Leaves the 5-9. Kind of push that 9 pin over a little bit, make it a little bit more difficult to make, but as long as it covers the ball with both pins, they'll keep Ogallala in this, but York would like to strike here.
Leaves 4.
That's the bucket, Brandon.
Bucket, okay.
That's the bucket. 2, 4, 5, 8.
You just hit the forwardmost pin head on. How do you approach it going the?
Yeah, with almost every spare, you got to hit the one that's closest to you to make it. But again, that can be easily chopped. So hopefully she covers all 4 pins with the ball. She's talking to her coach, getting some advice on how to tackle this. My suggestion would be you move your feet 5 to the right on the approach, try your same strike target, and the lane should take care of the rest.
And there's Nielsen for Ogallala. So a big ball here for Logston.
5-pin lead in the 9th. It's got a chance.
Nailed it.
Ogallala's got to keep up with them. They need to cover this spare. Just left. So here's the tail of the tape. A mark here should allow York to win. Anything less could be trouble. That's a good shot.
Shaylin Wall gives herself a chance for the pickup.
All right, she got enough pins on her first shot to force Ogallala to get 2 strikes. If he doesn't strike here, York's going to win this game.
And the Dukes stay alive here in game number 3.
Yep, York still has the fight in them. They're starting to settle in. That's all right. That's going to be a 136. That ball bounced out of the gutter, so that doesn't count. No winner rules here in bowling.
Well, because of that, despite that, they didn't need the 1 pin. Your final score yet to be determined because of the spare. 136, though, is what York ends with. And as you mentioned, it's going to be enough to force a 4th game.
So now you ask yourself, what's going to happen this next game, right? I mean, that's what we're all thinking. York is settling in, but Ogallala hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. I mean, it's just a matter of a break or two, I think, for them, and I think they could be your winner. But York's going to have a say in that here in just a moment.
Just 4 pins separate them. York squeaks by 136-132 in game number 3. Stay with us. 4th game of the Class B Unified Bowling State Finals coming up next.
Ace Street Market. Browse their selection of high-quality, fresh cuts of meat and the fresh, colorful produce. They have the variety you want and the service that keeps you coming back.
Ace Street Market has a great selection of high-quality cuts of meat. We don't use additives or preservatives, and you can taste the difference. All of our meat is cut in-house by our full-time meat cutter. And ask about our special orders. Ace Street Market. Great food and service that keeps you coming back.
We found ourselves not able to attend our grandson's ball games. Those schools were providing us opportunities to actually watch those games. And we are in the midst of watching a basketball game when all of a sudden the last 2 to 3 minutes were becoming slowed. And that's when I knew that there was something better that was going to be out there. Allo did a great job, and as far as we were concerned, it couldn't come fast enough. If you are considering looking at Allo, I would get on their list right away.
Welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes and Games here in West Lincoln. Unified Bowling State Championships for Class B. Ogallala 2, York 1. The Indians jumped out to a 2-0 lead, 137-123 in game number 1, then 182-157 in game number 2. The Dukes, though, staying alive, winning that 3rd game, 136-132.
All right, game 4, you want to start strong. Obviously, if you're York, you need to try to put some pressure on early like they did this last game. Can't help but wonder if that's what led to the win. They started out with a double. They'd like to do it again now. It's a good shot, right down the middle. Like that, Brandon.
Shaylin Wall, she did it last game. She follows up again with another strike to lead things off.
Good shot, leaves the 5-pin, kingpin.
Now Skylar Handy, we'll see if he also can repeat game number 3 with a strike here in the 2nd.
That shot's gonna go left. Brooklyn, almost, another 5-pin.
Yeah, John, you knew prior to it getting there that was going to be a Brooklyn. Is that just because you're a bowling god, or how does that work?
You can tell when they release the ball, the direction of the ball off their hand gives an idea where it's going to go.
And Handy cleans up the spare.
That's going to be close. Oh, right through the nose. 4, 6, 7, 10. He hit that dead square on the head pin.
Now, if you're right-handed or left-handed, you don't want to get too obviously. Would you recommend one over the other on which two you go for when you're facing a split like this?
Normally, the right-hander should go for the pins on the right because the ball would be hooking normally at the 6 pins, which would cause the 6 to have a better chance to slide into the 4, 7. But regardless, in this spare, it's just a lot of luck.
Well, you got 2. That's what matters most.
Yes, that's called pin count, and that's what makes the difference sometimes. Obviously, this last game, pin count was pretty close, and that's what you want to do. She's shooting at the 1-2-4-10, also known as the washout. Ball to the left side, would try to drive into the 10. She was a little bit too high on that one pin.
One pin standing here for the Indians.
Yeah, avoided a little bit of a split there. Normally 3-10, 10 pin fell out late, so he leaves just the 3. It's going to be 7. Oh, 5. Ball didn't get out the A10. Normally the A10 would fall there. That's a difficult spare.
And third frame left open for Ogallala.
Well, York currently with a 12 pin lead, but she needs to make the 1-3, 6, 8, 10. 2 ways to make this. Ball left side of the head pin, take out the 3, 6, 10 with the 1, and the ball will take out the 8, or hit the right side of the head pin and have the head pin hit the 8. In that case, she's not going to get any.
And so now Ogallala a chance to cut into this lead.
Yeah, Ogallala gets a striker spare here. They'll pull within less than 10. Leaves the 1-2. 2 pins basically in the middle. If you can throw it down the middle, it'll make that. That's a pretty high. Yeah, 4, 6, 10. Spare here by Ogallala with a split for York in the 5th. That's going to give them a little bit of an advantage if he can cover it. I like it. Oh, no, Brandon.
I thought he had it.
That was a bad break.
He can't even believe it. Zachary Christensen befuddled there.
Yeah, off his hand, I liked it. It looked like he had it, but just chopped that one right off the 2.
The split's not being kind here in game number 4. Or the pin's rather not being kind.
Yeah, that's the 7-10, the notorious 7-10 actually. It's considered one of the most difficult splits to make. That's, I think we're seeing some lane transition, Brandon. The oil is starting to move on the lane a little bit, causing the balls to maybe hook a little bit high. Ogallala getting one, pulls it with an 8.
Yeah, I'm sure you keep count of how many 7-10s you've picked up, right? Or is it too many to count also?
You would be surprised the number of 7-10s I've made, actually. It's in double digits, actually.
Well, when you have the pedigree and the CV, if you will, that you do, I guess that's not overly surprising.
You have to throw the ball really hard and then get it to bounce out of the machine. It can be done, but it's rare.
So we haven't seen a closed frame by either team since the 2nd.
Yeah, a lot of opens. You're right, Brandon. And that's going to be the difference. Whoever can make the spares, they're going to be your winner. We always said, you know, strikes are for show, but the spares are for the dough. Always make your spares. Ogallala within 10 if they can, you know, try to get back on track.
Another open frame for York.
Good break, getting 9. Breaks up the split. With a spare here, Ogallala could take the lead. I like that. Good shot. Bad break. That 6-pin fell into the gutter. Didn't take out the 10 like it normally does. It's called a ring 10 for the traditional bowler. Nothing to be ashamed of, though. It was a great shot.
And there's a spare.
There we go, Brandon. left. Leaves the 1-3-6. Needs to cover the 3 pins with the ball, hitting the right side of the head pin. But they're down by 9. Ogallala, York with a 9-pin lead. So now we're seeing that pin count come into play here, Brandon. The lead has fallen down to about 6. Spare here. I like it. That's good for Ogallala. Keeps it close. Difficult spare. 3-pin goes round the 6, 9, 10.
So York entering the 10th frame. They're a frame ahead.
The striker spare here by Ogallala will let them take the lead. Oh, that's a good shot. Bam!
Oliver Nielsen, the freshman, with a huge ball there for the Indians.
All right, so here is where we are. Next is York is 120. 8 pins or more, and Ogallala is your champion. There they are, ladies and gentlemen.
Coming from behind here in game number 4 and charging to a state championship, Zachary Christensen with the strike.
Again, York should be proud of their performance. They're getting stronger and stronger every year. It's a matter of time till they take home the crown, Brandon.
And so their first ever strip to Lincoln, and the Indians make it a good one. They earn the top seed, they run through the bracket, and are going to be bringing home a state title.
Yeah, victory lap here for Zachary. Well-deserved. He bowled great all day. Allowed him to get here, and now they're going to be state champions.
Well, round of applause, high fives all around for Ogallala. Your final 134 to 108 here in game number 4. The Indians bring home the title, 3-1 here in Class B with a great performance. One more look, John. Zach doing a great job all day long.
Yeah, he bowled tremendous all day. Like I said earlier, allowing them to do what they did by getting the right number of pins twice for them to win their match. He and all the Indians should be very proud of their championship today.
Well, awards ceremony coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We'll wrap up Class B. The Indians will get their medals, and a reminder, Class A is still on the way here on News Channel Nebraska. We'll return shortly.
News Channel Nebraska exists to unite the state of Nebraska. There are good things happening in rural Nebraska.
We find value in covering every single community.
All of Nebraska, from border to border.
And when people in Chadron understand what happens in York, everybody then understands what the goal and the mission is to move Nebraska forward as a single state.
Over the past year, the Nebraska Strong Recovery Project has been working around the state to provide support to Nebraskans impacted by COVID-19, from educators and essential workers to farmers and factory workers. Together, we are Nebraska Strong.
Good sportsmanship means being kind, respectful, and fair to everyone involved in the game.
We strive to create a positive environment in which all students can perform to the best of their abilities. We can accomplish this through good sportsmanship and encouraging a desire to succeed.
Your actions today are how you are perceived tomorrow.
Your character is worth more than any success or achievements you may have. Respect yourself, and most importantly, respect others.
This is Nebraska, and this is how Nebraskans play. Teamwork, sacrifice, determination, excitement, frustration, triumph, and defeat. News Channel Nebraska covers it all. The best high school and college games year-round. This is Nebraska.
This is home.
Alrighty, guys. Anything else I can get for you?
I think we're good.
Okay, enjoy.
This looks amazing. Oh, he's with my bank. He gets a little taste of everything, all the time. Don't worry, you get used to it.
You should join Liberty First Credit Union. They have low loan rates, high deposit rates, and they share the profits with their members. So no one will take a bite of what's yours.
Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose.
And welcome back. We are ready for the awards ceremony, awarding the Indians their first state title.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Nebraska School Activities Association is pleased to present medals and trophies to both of these outstanding teams. Presentations will be made by NSAA Executive Director Jay Miller and NSAA Board of Directors Kathy Wieskamp from Lincoln Public Schools. Also Special Olympics President Carolyn Chamberlain and U.S. Bank Representative Julie Sage. Here are the awards for runner-up, York High School. Christian Gray, please step forward for assistance. And present silver medals to your team. Participants, please step forward as your name is called. Shaylin Wall.
Is that on the black?
Nick C. Nate Christensen. Skylar Andy. Shelby Longston.
For these outstanding participants and their school, here's the 2021 NSAA State Unified Sports Class B Bowling Runner-Up Trophy. Congratulations, York High School.
Okay, just hold tight. We'll take a few pictures and we'll sit down, do the champions, and then we'll do the pictures. Okay. I'll sit down, actually. Everybody have pictures? Okay, you just go ahead and sit down.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to the York Dukes. John, as you mentioned, battling all throughout that championship series and still have to be proud of that second place finish.
Absolutely, and it's a matter of time, Brandon.
Now to
It's
the
just a matter of
champions.
time.
Ogallala High School. First, head coach Melinda Nielsen, we have a special award for you. Coach Nielsen and your assistants, please hand out the gold medals to your team. Participants, please come forward as your name is called. Joshua Christensen. Zachary Christensen. Braden Heilman. Austin Hodges. And Oliver Nielsen. For these outstanding athletes and their school, here is the 2021 NSAA Class B State Unified Sports Bowling Championship Trophy. Congratulations, Ogallala High School.
Congratulations, Zachary Christensen, Joshua Christensen, Austin Hodges, Oliver Nielsen, and Brady Heilman. Their first trip to state, and they're bringing home the state trophy back to Western Nebraska. The Indians are your champions, and a well-deserved victory, John.
Couldn't write a script any better, Brandon. I mean, really, first time in, and boom, state champion. Pretty impressive. Congratulations to the Indians.
To do it, they had to scrape and claw. This whole story almost ended in the first round. They were down 0-2 to Wayne, rattled off 3 straight games to make it to the semis. Then they beat Northwest 3-0. Then they take down York 3-1 here in the finals. Congratulations again to the Ogallala Indians. We'll take a break. We're going to try to grab head coach Melinda Nielsen and potentially Zachary Christensen as well, who's holding the trophy, and chat with them shortly. But we'll be back. And again, Class A coming up next on News Channel Nebraska.
When you want to wear your pride on your sleeve, true Nebraskans turn to NebraskaScreenPrinting.com for the latest screen printing and embroidery design. View hundreds of designs or upload your own for any school activity, sport, booster club, or business. We can do it all in whatever color your pride comes in. Get your group order in for your event or team at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com today for a fast and convenient turnaround. We're custom sports screen printing and embroidery at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com. Proud to be Nebraska.
I was born and raised in Plainview. I grew up on a farm northeast of town. Was offered an opportunity to work for the bank in 2008. We had one kid at the time, another one on the way. Midwest Bank is very family oriented, to help make Plainview a great place to live. And so the opportunity to raise our kids in the town where my wife and I both grew up, where we feel safe, good schools, is just everything we were kind of looking for. I'm Kevin, and I'm proud to be a part of the Plainview community.
I lived all over the United States for quite a long time. There I learned a lot more about fresh sustainability. There's a lot more you can do in a small community like this that has a ton of possibilities ahead of it. One of the biggest hopes I have for the area we're in is being able to build a stronger, bigger, more viable community.
Hey, check this out. I can order ready-to-cook fresh meals from Venue delivered to my doorstep every week.
Thank you. Now all I have to do is pop it in the oven.
Literally as simple as that. It's easy to make time for family and a delicious dinner.
Ace Street Market. Browse their selection of high-quality, fresh cuts of meat and the fresh, colorful produce. They have the variety you want and the service that keeps you coming back.
Ace Street Market has a great selection of high-quality cuts of meat. We don't use additives or preservatives, and you can taste the difference. All of our meat is cut in-house by our full-time meat cutter. And ask about our special orders. Ace Street Market. Great food and service that keeps you coming back.
And welcome back here to Sun Valley Lanes and Games. Joining us, Melinda Nielsen, who admittedly told me before bowling even started that you didn't expect to be here. And you didn't only not expect to be here, but you brought home the state title. What happened? Walk us through this entire journey.
My boys stepped it up. They really did. They brought their A game to state. We are a young team. I honestly wasn't expecting to go this far, and we did, and we're bringing home a trophy. So
now you have to have had some sort of inspirational speech or words of wisdom you gave him, right? I mean, there has to be some sort of secret.
I wish, because then I would know what to say next year to get us in the same position. But no, we're here to have fun, and we had a lot of fun, and we get a trophy. So that's all we were here to do, was have fun.
And this was first year ever participating in Unified, correct?
In the state tournament.
Yep, okay. And you got here for the first time and you brought it home. Congratulations. I'm going to talk to Zach shortly. Anything you'd like to say about him? He had some pretty good balls there to seal that fourth game.
Zach did an amazing job. I am so proud of him. He bowled a lot today. Being our only athlete and bowling 4 frames each game, that was a lot of bowling, and he did not let the stress get to him. There were a couple games we only won by 1 point, and he knew it was close, and he did not let the nerves get to him. He really stepped it up. I was proud of him.
Well, Melinda, thank you so much. Congratulations. And let's bring Zach over here, who also has the trophy with him conveniently.
Yes,
So Zach, come on over here.
I don't think he's going to let that go.
That's fine. He earned it. All right, well, let's put that right here. Let's get the headset on you. We got to hear what you have to say. So, Zach.
Oh, my.
There you go. All right.
Right here?
Zach Christensen. Tell me what it feels like to hold one of these. Let's move it a little bit to the side. There we go.
It feels amazing just to hold this trophy right here. And it's my first time making state, and I get to hold this trophy.
Now, the trophy's great. We also want to see your smile. So we're going to do this. There we go. Now, talk us through what you did. Game number 1, you guys your day was almost done against Wayne. You were down 0-2, and then you rallied all the way back and won 3 in a row. How'd you do it?
Well, before in that 0-2, we're actually psyching ourselves out because we're looking at the scoreboard and we're just like, we're gonna lose this. We're gonna lose this, and then we win that match, and we just keep going. And we won the second one, and then we won the third one, or third, fourth, fifth, and we got one step closer to this trophy.
Now, fast forward from that. After you got past that, you were in game number 4, and you had a very big ball that basically sealed it for the Indians. How'd that feel? And walk us through it.
I didn't know it sealed it. I didn't. I was just bowling, and that's what I do.
Well, you do it, and you do it pretty well. Any final thoughts, any favorite memories throughout this season, obviously culminating in what you did right here and winning the state championship? There's another look. You bring that emotion too. You're dancing. Where does that come from? The dancing, in between games, is that just something that keeps you loose?
I remember Marshmallow doing this. So shout out to DJ Marshmallow, and Conor McGregor always does this in a fight. So shout out to him as well.
Well, Zach, shout out to you also. You brought home a state title for the Indians. Congratulations, and very nicely done.
Yes, thank you. But one last thing, I couldn't have done it without the rest of my team and my coach.
Well, that's what it's all about, Unified Bowling. You guys epitomized that, and you brought it home to Ogallala. Very nicely done.
Yep.
Zach, take this home. Enjoy it. We are going to take another break here on News Channel Nebraska. Class A coming up next, but for Class B, the Ogallala Indians, led by Zach Christensen, bringing home the state title. We'll be back on News Channel Nebraska.
We found ourselves not able to attend our grandson's ball games. Those schools were providing us opportunities to actually watch those games. And we are in the midst of watching a basketball game when all of a sudden the last 2 to 3 minutes were becoming slowed. And that's when I knew that there was something better that was going to be out there. Allo did a great job, and as far as we were concerned, it couldn't come fast enough. If you are considering looking at Allo, I would get on their list right away.
News Channel Nebraska exists to unite the state of Nebraska. There are good things happening in rural Nebraska.
We find value in covering every single community.
All of Nebraska, from border to border.
And when people in Chadron understand what happens in York, everybody then understands what the goal and the mission is to move Nebraska forward as a single state.
Over the past year, the Nebraska Strong Recovery Project has been working around the state to provide support to Nebraskans impacted by COVID-19, from educators and essential workers to farmers and factory workers. Together, we are Nebraska Strong.
Good sportsmanship means being kind, respectful, and fair to everyone involved in the game.
We strive to create a positive environment in which all students can perform to the best of their abilities. We can accomplish this through good sportsmanship and encouraging a desire to succeed.
Your actions today are how you are perceived tomorrow.
Your character is worth more than any success or achievements you may have. Respect yourself, and most importantly, respect others.
This is Nebraska, and this is how Nebraskans play. Teamwork, sacrifice, determination, excitement, frustration, triumph, and defeat. News Channel Nebraska covers it all. The best high school and college games year-round. This is Nebraska.
This is home.
And welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes and Games, the site of the 2021 NSAA Unified Bowling State Championships. And Ogallala is your Class B champs, taking down York. Let's take a look at top plays and highlights and action from the day's activities. 16 teams started the day. It came down to 4 before the championship rounds. And in Class B, Ogallala and York going at it. Ogallala Indians were actually down 0-2 in the first round against Wayne. They rattled off 3 straight, then they beat Northwest 3-0 to make it here. And Zachary Christensen, he was one of the stars of the show for the Indians. In game number 1, the Indians would end up taking it 137 to 133. Now, Shaylin Wall, one of the athletes for the Dukes, knocking them all down, getting the strike for York. But Ogallala, they were fiery. They had some good celebrations as well. Joshua Christensen doing a good job knocking them down. Now we're getting a look at Shelby Logston. Ogallala got up 2-0, but they stayed alive, courtesy of Shelby Logston, making some big balls late in the third. They squeak by 136-132 in game number 3. Force a 4th game, but Zachary Christensen sealing the deal. He has the fist pump going. The Ogallala Indians are your state champs, winning 3-1, their first ever trip to state, and they bring home the title back to Ogallala. Your final scores in this one: 137-123 in game 1, 182-157 in game 2. York, as we mentioned, getting that third game, 136-132, and then the final and deciding game, 134-108, to crown the Indians state champs. We will be back. We have about 20 minutes until Class A coverage gets underway, but we have some special interviews lined up and more unified bowling on the way here on News Channel Nebraska.
All right, guys, anything else I can get for you?
I think we're good.
Okay, enjoy.
This looks amazing. Oh, he's with my bank. He gets a little taste of everything, all the time. Don't worry, you get used to it.
You should join Liberty First Credit Union. They have low loan rates, high deposit rates, and they share the profits with their members. So no one will take a bite. What's yours?
Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. When you want to wear your pride on your sleeve, true Nebraskans turn to NebraskaScreenPrinting.com for the latest screen printing and embroidery design. View hundreds of designs or upload your own for any school activity, sport, booster club, or business. We can do it all in whatever color your pride comes in. Get your group order in for your event or team at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com today for a fast and convenient turnaround. We're custom sports screen printing and embroidery at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com. Proud to be Nebraskan.
I was born and raised in Plainview. I grew up on a farm northeast of town. Was offered an opportunity to work for the bank in 2008. We had one kid at the time, another one on the way. Midwest Bank is very family oriented, to help make Plainview a great place to live. And so the opportunity to raise our kids in the town where my wife and I both grew up, where we feel safe, good schools. It's just everything we were kind of looking for. I'm Kevin, and I'm proud to be a part of the Plainview community.
I lived all over the United States for quite a long time. There I learned a lot more about fresh sustainability. There's a lot more you can do in a small community like this that has a ton of possibilities ahead of it. One of the biggest hopes I have for the area we're in is being able to build a stronger, bigger, more viable community.
Hey, check this out. I can order ready-to-cook fresh meals from Venue delivered to my doorstep every week.
Thank you. Now all I have to do is pop it in the oven.
Literally as simple as that. It's easy to make time for family and a delicious dinner.
A Street Market. Browse their selection of high-quality, fresh cuts of meat and the fresh, colorful produce. They have the variety you want and the service that keeps you coming back.
A Street Market has a great selection of high-quality cuts of meat. We don't use additives or preservatives, and you can taste the difference. All of our meat is cut in-house by our full-time meat cutter. And ask about our special orders. A Street Market, great food and service that keeps you coming back.
We found ourselves not able to attend our grandsons' ball games. Those schools were providing us opportunities to actually watch those games. And we are in the midst of watching a basketball game when all of a sudden the last 2 to 3 minutes were becoming slowed. And that's when I knew that there was something better that was going to be out there. Allo did a great job, and as far as we were concerned, it couldn't come fast enough. If you are considering looking at Allo, I would get on their list right away.
News Channel Nebraska exists to unite the state of Nebraska. There are good things happening in rural Nebraska.
We find value in covering every single community.
All of Nebraska, from border to border.
And when people in Chadron understand what happens in York, everybody then understands what the goal and the mission is to move Nebraska forward as a single state.
And welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes and Games. We're in between the Class B and the Class A Unified Bowling State Championships. And joining us now, NSAA Executive Director Jay Beller, who, hard to believe fall is over. We're into winter sports, but I understand things went pretty smoothly in the fall. Can you kind of give a recap of how everything went in 2021 as we transition now to winter sports?
Yeah, definitely. It went well for us, and thank God for good weather, because sometimes we rely on that. But it went really well with golf and tennis, and then through volleyball and football, everything went well, and things were attended very well. So we're happy.
Well, and you look at where you were roughly a year ago with the COVID protocols and navigating all of that. So how much more smoothly has it gone? Because there's still some stuff out there, but it's not nearly like it was in 2020. So what's that been like?
Well, it's been a blessing. There were so many things that we talked about before that we had to get done and prepare for and deal with the different health companies and the people that we worked through with were really good, but it took a lot of time to develop that, and now it's a lot better. So we appreciate that. There's still things that we talk about and worry about, but we're following through.
And of course, early on in winter, you get things sort of kicked off with basketball for a week, then unified bowling, and also the State 1X up in Norfolk. So how are you feeling as that's coming up in a couple days' time?
Yeah, we're excited about that. Play production, the Norfolk contingency does a great job. They've done it for years, and they're ready to host again. The kids will come up there, they'll do a great job, and so we're happy.
Now, one other thing that actually kind of popped up, and something that you're going to have to navigate later on this winter, is state basketball. A little bit different due to some complications with the university scheduling, but that's been announced in terms of how you're going to do it. Anything different than what needs to be expected as we navigate the 1 week?
Well, I don't think so. We're going to figure out what's the best way to put it in perspective from when boys play and when girls play. But other than that, we're looking for a great week of basketball. I think it's going to be exciting. You know, we don't really know what to expect, but we're really looking forward to big crowds and good things going on.
Well, Jay, as always, thank you for the time. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to some more good bowling in a little bit here too as well.
You bet, and we thank you for all that you do for us. Appreciate it.
We'll be back here at Sun Valley Lanes and News Channel Nebraska getting ready for Class A Unified Bowling State Championships in about 10 minutes.
Over the past year, the Nebraska Strong Recovery Project has been working around the state to provide support to Nebraskans impacted by COVID-19, from educators and essential workers to farmers and factory workers. Together, we are Nebraska Strong.
Good sportsmanship means being kind, respectful, and fair to everyone involved in the game.
We strive to create a positive environment in which all students can perform to the best of their abilities. We can accomplish this through good sportsmanship and encouraging a desire to succeed.
Your actions today are how you are perceived tomorrow.
Your character is worth more than any success or achievements you may have. Respect yourself, and most importantly, respect others.
This is Nebraska, and this is how Nebraskans play. Teamwork, sacrifice, determination, excitement, frustration, triumph, and defeat. News Channel Nebraska covers it all. The best high school and college games year-round. This is Nebraska.
This is home. Alrighty, guys. Anything else I can get for you?
I think we're good.
Okay, enjoy.
This looks amazing. Oh, he's with my bank. He gets a little taste of everything, all the time. Don't worry, you get used to it.
You should join Liberty First Credit Union. They have low loan rates, high deposit rates, and they share the profits with their members. So no one will take a bite of what's yours.
Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. When you want to wear your pride on your sleeve, true Nebraskans turn to NebraskaScreenPrinting.com for the latest screen printing and embroidery design. View hundreds of designs or upload your own for any school activity, sport, booster club, or business. We can do it all in whatever color your pride comes in. Get your group ordering for your event or team at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com today for a fast and convenient turnaround. We're custom sports screen printing and embroidery at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com. Proud to be Nebraskan.
I was born and raised in Plainview. I grew up on a farm northeast of town. Was offered an opportunity to work for the bank in 2008. We had one kid at the time, another one on the way. Midwest Bank is very family oriented, to help make Plainview a great place to live. And so the opportunity to raise our kids in the town where my wife and I both grew up, where we feel safe, good schools, is just everything we were kind of looking for. I'm Kevin, and I'm proud to be a part of the Plainview community.
I lived all over the United States for quite a long time. There I learned a lot more about fresh sustainability. There's a lot more you can do in a small community like this that has a ton of possibilities ahead of it. One of the biggest hopes I have for the area we're in is being able to build a stronger, bigger, more viable community.
Hey, check this out. I can order ready-to-cook fresh meals from Venue delivered to my doorstep every week.
Thank you. Now all I have to do is pop it in the oven.
Literally as simple as that. It's easy to make time for family and a delicious dinner.
A Street Market. Browse their selection of high-quality, fresh cuts of meat and the fresh, colorful produce. They have the variety you want and the service that keeps you coming back.
A Street Market has a great selection of high-quality cuts of meat. We don't use additives or preservatives, and you can taste the difference. All of our meat is cut in-house by our full-time meat cutter. And ask about our special orders. A Street Market, great food and service that keeps you coming back.
And welcome back here on News Channel Nebraska, Sun Valley Lanes and Games, and we are in between Class A and Class B. We have a very special representative with us from Special Olympics of Nebraska. Carolyn, thank you for being here, and we talked about it in the broadcast earlier. First year that this has been A and B, both, which is again another testament to the sport growing, but how does that impact you, and how do you feel about the fact that we have an A and a B here for the first time?
Well, first of all, I am so excited about it. I never imagined that we would have something like this, but it only speaks to the need and the importance of this type of programming in schools across Nebraska.
And when you talk about Nebraska Special Olympics and how it works with the NSAA and Unified to make this a thing, what is your role in helping pull this thing off?
So my role initially started with working with the NSAA probably 10 years ago, pitching this idea that every student should have the opportunity to compete for their team, to compete for a championship, and to create an environment where all students feel like they belong. So it took about 4 years to revise bylaws, get voting from the membership, get the board involved with the NSAA. But once we were able to do that, we were able to finally have our first championship. And so now, fast forward 6 years, and the fact we now have 2 classes, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I think we'll be having this conversation 5 or 6 years from now, and it'll look even bigger and better. And that's what I envision happening.
And obviously this is a cause you believe in and are very passionate about, but what is it about being involved in Nebraska Special Olympics and being a part of something that's happening today that kind of motivates you day in, day out?
Well, on a personal note, I have a passion for sport. I think sport has a universal impact and a universal language. So you may not completely understand the rules of a sport, but after observing, you can understand, oh, if a ball goes in that basket, that's a good thing. Or if a ball goes in this goal, that's a good thing. So people can follow it, they can get behind it, they can get excited about it. So I love the impact of sport and getting on the field to play, the camaraderie with teammates, the personal best goals that you work toward that you can achieve. So many of things that come from that can be applied to our lives. And then that speaks to, if you have an intellectual disability, why shouldn't you have those same opportunities? Because you have goals and you want camaraderie and you want to win and succeed. And what we do is we give people who 60 years ago didn't have that chance, we lines and we say, you deserve an opportunity for dignity and you deserve an opportunity to shine. And so that's why I love this whole concept of Unified, because it gives everybody that opportunity, and sport is the vehicle that we use to accomplish that.
And so throughout this whole process over these several years, I'm sure you talk to a lot of people and get a bunch of feedback. What's one of the more common things you hear regarding the benefits of Unified sports?
One of the most common things that I hear is from the students who are not part of the special education world, the impact that this has had on their lives, the impact that our athletes have made that is long-term, that people have said, I think I want to go into a special education career, or I've made a friend in someone that I may never have spoken to before, but now I consider this person my friend. And we've seen people stand in people's weddings or maintain a true and authentic friendship as a result of a unified experience. And that's the power of bringing people together.
Well, Carolyn, thank you first so much for your work with the Special Olympics, and thank you for taking the time here today. We have another great event, and we're only halfway through the championship round. We're looking forward to Class A coming up as well.
Thank you. It's a great day.
Carolyn Chamberlain with us here on News Channel Nebraska. We're getting close to Class A State Championship Unified Bowling here at Sun Valley Lanes and Games. We'll be back.
We found ourselves not able to attend our grandson's ball games. Those schools were providing us opportunities to actually watch those games. And we are in the midst of watching a basketball game when all of a sudden the last 2 to 3 minutes were becoming slowed. And that's when I knew that there was something better that was going to be out there. Allo did a great job, and as far as we were concerned, it couldn't come fast enough. If you are considering looking at Allo, I would get on their list right away.
News Channel Nebraska exists to unite the state of Nebraska. There are good things happening in rural Nebraska.
We find value in covering every single community.
All of Nebraska, from border to border.
And when people in Chadron understand what happens in York, everybody then understands what the goal and the mission is to move Nebraska forward as a single state.
Brandon Exmit, John Lucido with you as we are in between Class B and Class A Unified Bowling State Championships here at Sun Valley Lanes and Games. John, this is a perfect time for people to know a little bit more about you. Obviously, those who watch the Class B are very aware that you know a lot about bowling, but it's not just because you studied it. So what is your entire bowling background? Give us a little story about John Lucido.
I was born and raised in upstate New York. No, we won't go through that whole deal, but I bowled for a school in college called Erie Community College. It's one of the only 2-year schools that competes against the 4-year schools in collegiate bowling. I won there, and I was recruited by Nebraska to come out here and bowl for Nebraska. I was the champion. I was the captain of the first championship team we had here in 1990, and I've been here ever since. Really love Nebraska. I'm a Husker now at heart, so good old Go Big Red, and I'm proud to wear that badge the best I can. So I've been bowling all my life. I started when I was 4, bowling in leagues, and bowled on the Pro Tour for a while. I coached overseas for a while. I was the Philippine national coach for a bit, and then decided to settle back down here in Lincoln. So.
Now, I feel like, there has to be some sort of story about being the Philippine national. What was that like coaching overseas?
It was interesting. We went to the Asian Games, so we were just treated just like everybody else, the athlete village, and like you would kind of expect, in all the traditional Olympic sports. It was awesome. We were in Hiroshima, Japan was where the Asian Games were, and we won silver. We should have won. We split in the 10th frame. It still bothers me to this day, but yeah, it was an awesome experience. So.
Now, I'm sure you've bowled several 300 games, but when you look at what you've done throughout your career, something stick out as your most memorable thing that bowling has brought you, I guess, whether a player or as a coach?
That's a great question. I bowled in some pretty big stages, the U.S. Open and some other events. Bowling on TV, of course, is always a great thing. But winning at Nebraska, I think, might be it. Something about collegiate sports, are so pure and so fun that it really sticks to me to this day. So other than the White House, I'm the bowling guy for the White House. So sometimes I get called, if the phone number comes up all zeros, I know it's them calling. So that's the other thing I'd say.
So you're not joking about that?
No.
So what is the bowling guy for the White House? What would they call you for?
Their scoring system. Turn stuff on and make sure stuff is good and those type things.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have an official bowling celebrity with us in the booth here for the Unified Bowling State Championships. One more thing, too, before we get ready for our official pregame of Class A. If you had one word or a few words of advice to give these high school bowlers, what would that be?
Remember how you got here. Right? I mean, we all know the basics, and just do what you've done. It's no different. The game is still the same. The lane's the same. The ball's the same. The pin's the same. Just don't forget your roots. Just go out there and have fun. Whatever happens, happens.
Sun Valley Lanes and Games, we are getting ready for Class A Unified Bowling State Championships. It's Fremont. It's Millard North. It's coming up next on News Channel Nebraska.
Over the past year, the Nebraska Strong Recovery Project has been working around the state to provide support to Nebraskans impacted by COVID-19, from educators and essential workers to farmers and factory workers. Together, we are Nebraska Strong.
Good sportsmanship means being kind, respectful, and fair to everyone involved in the game.
We strive to create a positive environment in which all students can perform to the best of their abilities. We can accomplish this through good sportsmanship and encouraging a desire to succeed.
Your actions today are how you are perceived tomorrow.
Your character is worth more than any success or achievements you may have. Respect yourself, and most importantly, respect others.
This is Nebraska, and this is how Nebraskans play. Teamwork, sacrifice, determination, excitement, frustration, triumph, and defeat. News Channel Nebraska covers it all. The best high school and college games year-round. This is Nebraska.
This is home. Alrighty, guys. Anything else I can get for you?
I think we're good.
Okay, enjoy.
This looks amazing. Oh, he's with my bank. He gets a little taste of everything, all the time. Don't worry, you get used to it.
You should join Liberty First Credit Union. They have low loan rates, high deposit rates, and they share the profits with their members. So no one will take a bite of what's yours.
Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. When you want to wear your pride on your sleeve, true Nebraskans turn to NebraskaScreenPrinting.com for the latest screen printing and embroidery design. View hundreds of designs or upload your own for any school activity, sport, booster club, or business. We can do it all in whatever color your pride comes in. Get your group order in for your event or team at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com today for a fast and convenient turnaround. We're custom sports screen printing and embroidery at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com. Proud to be Nebraskan.
I was born and raised in Plainview. I grew up on a farm northeast of town. Was offered an opportunity to work for the bank in 2008. We had one kid at the time, another one on the way. Midwest Bank is very family oriented, to help make Plainview a great place to live. And so the opportunity to raise our kids in the town where my wife and I both grew up, where we feel safe, good schools, is just everything we were kind of looking for. I'm Kevin, and I'm proud to be a part of the Plainview community.
I lived all over the United States for quite a long time. There I learned a lot more about fresh sustainability. There's a lot more you can do in a small community like this that has a ton of possibilities ahead of it. One of the biggest hopes I have for the area we're in is being able to build a stronger, bigger, more viable community.
Hey, check this out. I can order ready-to-cook fresh meals from Venue delivered to my doorstep every week.
Thank you. Now all I have to do is pop it in the oven. Literally as simple as that. It's easy to make time for family and a delicious dinner.
Ace Street Market. Browse their selection of high-quality, fresh cuts of meat and the fresh, colorful produce. They have the variety you want and the service that keeps you coming back.
Ace Street Market has a great selection of high-quality cuts of meat. We don't use additives or preservatives, and you can taste the difference. All of our meat is cut in-house by our full-time meat cutter. And ask about our special orders. Ace Street Market, great food and service that keeps you coming back.
Welcome to Sun Valley Lanes and Games, the site of the 2021 Unified Bowling State Championships here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Brandon Axemet, John Lucido with you as we are now ready for the Class A state finals. We just had Class B, John, wrap up a 4-game series, and Ogallala came out on top of York. Right now we have Millard North and Fremont to see who will be crowned Class A champs.
two traditional powerhouse schools in bowling. They've been doing it for decades here in Nebraska. It's going to be an interesting match here, Brandon. I think something's going to happen that we didn't see earlier, and that's the fact that the lanes have not been reconditioned. So these guys are now really bowling on what the Class B finished on, which is a little bit different. But again, not a lot of play. The lights are on, so we might see some change in how the ball reacts down the lane with this crew.
As is always the case for how this competition plays out, you have a seeding round at the beginning of the day, and then it's broken down into bracket play. And so after the seeding round, just like, well, not quite actually like Class B, we had 1 versus 2 in Class B. We have 1 versus 3 here in Class A. Millard North was the top seed. They swept Omaha Northwest 3-0 in the first round, and then a tough test against Millard South, but they came out on top in 5 games. And similarly, Fremont, the 3 seed, so they weren't far off from being the number 2. 3-1 over Norfolk, or no, 3-1, over Kearney, then a 3-2 over Norfolk. So both these teams bowled 5 in the semis to get here.
Yeah, Norfolk's always been a strong team as well. They actually qualified second. I thought they might make it to the show, but Fremont fought them off. So Fremont's the Fighting Tigers, I guess. They really got some growl in them, so it'll be interesting to see how they play against the Mustangs.
Looking forward to a great conclusion to our championship Monday afternoon here in Lincoln. We'll take one break, come back, and get ready for Unified Bowling.
We found ourselves not able to attend our grandsons' ball games. Those schools were providing us opportunities to actually watch those games. And we are in the midst of watching a basketball game when all of a sudden the last 2 to 3 minutes were becoming slowed. And that's when I knew that there was something better that was going to be out there. Allo did a great job, and as far as we were concerned, it couldn't come fast enough. If you are considering looking at Allo, I would get on their list right away.
Ball of the championship series, and it knocks down 8. That is Emily Christensen. Will go down these rosters for the Tigers first. Haley Bates, Karina Capron, Emily Christensen, Cassie Krakavoli, and Kaylee McKenzie for the Tigers. For Millard North, you have Jeff Birkenthal, Addison DeBoer, Emily Merton, Elizabeth Molina, and Steven Rosenberger for the Mustangs.
Just like we saw in Class B, Brandon, and we're going to guess that there'll be some nerves here a little bit early, and then they'll settle in, and then we'll start to see the spares and strikes flow.
Steven Rosenberger also knocks down 9, so tied after 1.
That's the first chop we've seen, Brandon. That's what you call a chop, is when the first 2 pins in front knocked over, but the one behind still stands.
And 7 knocked down. And 9 down in frame number 2. So we're getting a look at Karina Capron for the Fremont Tigers.
Karina had some national experience. She's bowled well in junior gold, which is the U.S. Olympic qualifier for youth.
And it's first mark of the day. That's Addison DeBoer knocking it down.
We're going to start seeing him settle in a little bit. That ball going a little bit long. Leaves the 2-8. It's got what's known as the sleeper. That 8-pin hiding behind the 2.
John, we always talk about, mental, physical, the game of bowling, and what factors can play into it as we have our first strike of the day for Millard North. But it's even in terms of the fact that they both bowled 5 in the semis, but how much can fatigue play when you bowled 5 and then wear on throughout a day of bowling?
It's a bit of a long day. I mean, competition started at 8:30 this morning. We're now at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So Yeah, I mean, you think about it, you just go and go and go. Then you have to sit with Class A kids, basically sat for over an hour and a half while we did Class B, so they get a little bit stiff, so then you have to deal with that. So they'll start to loosen up. Kind of see that already with Millard North.
Here's Christensen.
Good delivery, just a little bit left. Leaves the 1-3-9. The rare single head pin on lane 27. Don't normally see that left.
So after this ball, both teams will be through 4.
It's a little to the right. It's just the 3-pin. Gives us a 14-pin match going into frame number 5.
And the first split of the match there for Addison DeBoer.
We discussed this a little bit earlier, Brandon, about the lane pattern being a little bit more challenging. That's an example of that. That might have gone right to the pocket, maybe struck on a normal house pattern. But here, there's not much room for forgiveness.
DeBoer is senior, also a team captain for the Mustangs. He gets 2 there.
Good shot by Karina, who comes in right into the pocket, leaves a light 10-pin. Should be a simple cross-lane spare for her.
And Karina has grown into a real mentor role this year, according to Melinda Nielsen, or excuse me, Jess Sorensen, head coach for the Tigers. And she has a lot of good experience, as you referenced, that she can share with her teammates.
Emily Merton, also a strong player for Millard North. Her ball just a little bit slow on the ball speed, causes it to hook a little bit more than the previous shot, which she struck, leaves the 2-4-7. And now we see the mirror image of that, the 3-6-10 for the right-hander. So we have the left-handed version and the right-handed version. Chances are the same for both of them.
Emily, who is bowling now, is the one who keeps everyone in line on the team, according to head coach Trisha Rode, and she leads by example there with the spare.
Good break for Emily, catching the 2-pin off the wall into the 4-7. Well, that's going to skid to the right. Yep.
It's Kaylee McKenzie, now back to Emily Christensen for Fremont.
It's Millard North, a little bit of breathing room. Leaves the 2-4-5. Gives them a 13-pin lead. Emily a little bit front of her body with her arm swing, causes the ball to go to a little bit left of her target. Leaves the 1-3-8.
And so similar to what we saw in that first game, a lot of open frames in the Class B. We talked about how, you know, the nerves and maybe even a little bit of rustiness for having to sit for a while playing into this first contest.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge getting through that first game of jitters. That's going to be got a chance. Great cover.
Emily Christensen, great pickup there. That is the 3rd spare this game for the Tigers.
Actually allow Fremont to get within 1 pin if Karina can strike. Oh, it's a washout. The washout.
Those are never fun.
There's only one way to make this. Ball needs, well, I shouldn't say that. The most likely way to make this is to get the ball to the left side of the head pin. That 1 pin in the front needs to slide over and hit the 10. The ball take out the 2-4. Karina with a great shot. 10 in the pit.
First strike of the game for Fremont.
And now we're
3 of
have
4.
a lead change, Brandon, because of that strike.
Neck and neck then as we head into the 9th frame. And a monster strike for Kaylee McKenzie.
Yeah, it's a key double. It gives them a lead, up to 10 pins lead going into the 10th frame for Fremont. Millard North would like this answer here with a strike from Emily.
And she answers.
Did just what she needed to do. Great delivery, ball right in the light pocket, 1-2. Ball drives through, takes out all the pins.
So all coming down to the 10th frame here in game number 1. 9 pins fall for Christensen there.
Well, they have a 19-pin lead, so a mark here by Fremont should lock it up for them. Although if Millard North can strike out, in all 3 strikes, they could win by 1. So spare here is important. I like it. Yeah. All right, so she must strike for Millard North. Got a chance.
And so with that, the Tigers will take game number 1.
Get the first game behind them, they'll settle in. I wouldn't write Millard North off yet. Still a lot of bowling. Good delivery. Great shot. Nice.
So Christensen feeling it here in the 10th, and she'll be able to take that momentum over to game number 2. The Tigers finish with a pin total of 158 here in game number 1. And it'll be 125 for Millard North. So 158 to 125. Fremont out in front with a 1-game lead here in the Class A Unified Bowling State Championships. We'll be back.
News Channel Nebraska exists to unite the state of Nebraska. There are good things happening in rural Nebraska.
We find value in covering every single community.
All of Nebraska, from border to border.
And when people in Chadron understand what happens in York, everybody then understands what the goal and the mission is to move Nebraska forward as a single state.
This is home.
Welcome back, just underway in game number 2, and Millard North starting off with a bang with that strike.
Yeah, that Mustang got right out of the barn. Took off running.
Well, a reminder that today's coverage of Unified Bowling is brought to you by Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Find out more at libertyfirstcu.com. One of our presenting sponsors here today. As we are in game number 2 of the Class A Unified Bowling State Championships. This ball coming from Haley Bates for the Tigers. And also Custom Sports out of Norfolk, making today's coverage possible here in Lincoln. Custom Sports, a presenting sponsor here on News Channel Nebraska. And Molina gets 2 of 3. And lastly, a special thanks to Midwest Bank, providing you this coverage here on NCN. Midwest Bank, a presenting sponsor of Unified Bowling State Championships, and Haley Bates cashing in with a spare.
Great cover by Haley. She makes what's known as the baby split. Now, Brendan, we're going to see a little bit of transition now. The teams have switched lanes, so now they have to kind of learn to see what the other lane is doing that they have not bowled on TV yet. So we'll see a little bit of communication between them and some adjustments. as they figure it out.
And now we talked during the Class B broadcast about lane patterns and how they're applied. Now, is both lane 28 and 29, are they given the same pattern, or do they, but still there's the difference of the balls being bowled differently on the two lanes that causes the issues, or the differences rather?
Correct. There's two things that will cause the difference in the way that the lanes are played. First, they are done the same. The machine applies oil to the microliter the same per each lane. However, what's known as the topography and how level the lane is will cause them to play different. And there's a rule where they have to be within 41 thousandths of an inch level from left to right and from front to back. But within that range, they can play different. So it's one of the hidden obstacles of bowling, is that you got to kind of learn what the lane does.
So through 4 frames for Fremont, they have 47 pins. Millard North bowling off of a spare here.
Millard North taking a little bit of an early lead. Difficult spare in the 2-4-5-7. Multiple ways that this can be chopped. It's got to try to cover the ball with most of the pins they can. And it's the return of the 2-4-8-10. We saw this in the Class B competition with a couple of the boys that had the high rev rate. She has a pretty high rev rate also, so that drives through and leaves an unusual split. She needs to get the ball to the left side of that 2 pin and try to slide that 2 into the 10 and have the ball take out the 4-8.
And Haley Bates, look at that.
Exactly how she needed to do it. Great job. Smiling from ear to ear, as well as she should be.
Yeah, big pickup there in the 5th frame for the Tigers. Millard North answers back with a strike from Elizabeth Molina. Now Karina Capron bowling for the Tigers.
Karina trying to take advantage of that splits conversion, and she does. Powerful shot. Keeps Fremont within 5.
And Cassie Crackaville getting some PT in game number 2, and she's making the most of it. That's 2 strikes in a row here for the Tigers.
Miller like the double. Oh, a bad break.
Close for Jeff Birkenthal. Just the 1 pin remaining.
Just a little bit of bad luck for Jeff. Did what he needed to do. Ball drives through the pocket. Ball hits the 5 pin. 5 slid in front of the 7. Normally that 5 pin will hit the 7, and he leaves just the 1.
And Bates just a pin shy of making it 3 in a row for the Tigers. Back to Birkenthal for Millard North. And he gets it. He's known as the calming presence for this Mustangs team and shows his composure there.
Keeps it within 4 pins for Millard North, but Fremont with a slight lead.
So now 4 marks in a row for the Tigers. Frames 5, 6, 7, and 8. And 2 pins left standing here for Rosenberger.
Ball going right through the heart of the pins, leaves the 3-10 baby split. 1 of 2 ways to make it. Ball covers both pins, or he hits the left side of the 3 into the 10. Karina showing her experience there. All of her shots basically been in the pocket. She's just a matter of a good break or a bad break. Nice spare conversion.
That was Rosenberger with the pickup.
Keeps Millard North within a 10-pin deficit. But Fremont's not giving up.
That's 5 straight frames and 7 of 9 that the Tigers have closed here in game number 2.
Emily Merton, good shot. Just doesn't trip that 6 pin.
Fremont with 150 with 1 ball to go here in the 10th, of course, unless it's a spare.
Could be an advantage or a disadvantage finishing so early, because now Millard North knows what they need. 158. A spare here gives them a close match, but that's going to hook right in the channel. But it's not over.
The Mustangs sitting at 118 entering the 9th, down to 40.
Millard North has to strike or spare on this delivery. If they don't, they'll be mathematically eliminated. A strike would be better because it'll build the foundation for the 10th frame. The spare would be good enough to keep them in it.
Birkenthal with 3 remaining here.
It's a good delivery. It was on target. The ball just hooked a little bit early for him. I think we're actually seeing the lanes change a little bit. If I was him, I would just make a slight adjustment with my feet, maybe move a board or two to the left, try to make the same exact shot, because physically it was a great shot. Must spare this.
So with that, as you mentioned, John, it'll be game number 2 going to Fremont as well. The Tigers jumping out to a commanding lead.
Yeah, now we get to this point, it's going to be a little bit challenging for Millard North to fight back. It's tough to come down from 2-0 at Baker. It can be done. We've seen it done earlier today, but they just need to settle in, make a couple more spares.
Yeah, to your point, the Class B state champs, Ogallala, they were down 0-2 in the first round. Won 3 in a row, then ended up winning it all.
So it can be done.
So Rosenberger finishing things up here in the 10th.
Got it. Oh no, bad break.
We'll blame it on the lane pattern.
Yes, I agree.
Your final score, 158 to 134. Fremont out to a 2-0 lead here at Sun Valley Lanes and Games. We'll be back.
Over the past year, the Nebraska Strong Recovery Project has been working around the state to provide support to Nebraskans impacted by COVID-19. From educators and essential workers to farmers and factory workers. Together, we are Nebraska Strong.
Good sportsmanship means being kind, respectful, and fair to everyone involved in the game.
We strive to create a positive environment in which all students can perform to the best of their abilities. We can accomplish this through good sportsmanship and encouraging a desire to succeed.
Your actions today are how you are perceived tomorrow.
Your character is worth more than any success or achievements you may have. Respect yourself, and most importantly, respect others.
Welcome back. First ball of game number 3 knocks down 9 pins by Emily Christensen. Brandon Axelman, John Lacido with you. The stakes are set. Fremont out to a 2-0 lead. If they win, they're state champs. Millard North, of course, has to win to keep this thing going.
Yeah, Millard North knows exactly what's going on. They huddled up between the break, during that commercial break. I think they had a quick team powwow, and I think they're trying to get the reset and try to pull this off.
Spare to start things off for the Tigers. And a spare to match for Millard North.
And we've seen her, all her shots have been in the pocket. She just may or may not strike. She's left a bunch of 10 pins. But physically a great game. Let's see what happens here.
2 standing as here goes Addison DeBoer for Millard North and knocks them all down.
All right, Millard North trying to get out of the gate strong. I'd really like to take advantage of a double here. If Emily Burton can get up and try to deliver that for them. I like Karina's chances here. She's going to get the ball to the right side of the 2-pin, but she's going to have enough revolutions on her ball to have that ball drive through and take out the 8-pin behind it. Like that.
It's almost like you've bowled before.
Maybe once, twice.
Here's Merton.
She made an adjustment from her last delivery that went high. I could tell by where the ball went down the lane. Didn't quite hook like she thought it would, but it's not over.
Strike for Kaylee McKenzie for Fremont. Three marks. Millard North trying to do the same, but not a fun one for Merton here.
Emily will need to get the ball to the right side of the 3-pin, have that 3 slide in into the 7. They say for the pros, it's about a 10-to-1 conversion. So for her, it's probably a little bit more, I would assume. Oh.
9 goes down for Christensen. Here's Merton for that split.
Gotta get it over. Nope. Gets 2 though. Keeps the pin count. So they're only down by 10.
You said roughly a 10-to-1 for the pros for that type of thing. What's the 7-10? What's the ratio on that?
They actually figured it out. It's like 3.8% or some strange number. It's less than 5.
I always have follow-up questions with things that you say, but how do they calculate the percentage?
They actually tracked it for like an entire season on the Pro Tour.
Okay.
And I actually think I'm off. I think I'm thinking of the Greek Church. I think the 710's less than 1.
And the Greek Church is a different split. Was that you were referencing?
4, 6, 7, 9, 10. That's a mouthful. We haven't seen any of those yet.
Well, we've seen a couple of strikes. There's another one by Capron. The Tigers wanting to close this one out in 3.
Ball slids to the right, causes it to go just by that 6-pin. They're still within 10 pins, though. They're not with a 10-pin lead.
The washout? Is that almost
That
the wash?
is.
All
You got it,
right, I'm
Brandon.
learning.
You got it.
Facing McKenzie. There's Addison DeBoer has 2 still standing.
She'll need to get the ball to the left side of the 1 pin and have that 1 take out the 10. The ball will take out the 2-4. Got the right idea. There it is.
Nicely done. As Fremont now marks in 5 of 6.
There's that sleeper 2-8 that we talked about. That's what they call it, the sleeper. That pin behind there is sometimes difficult to get. Fremont taking a 19-pin lead going into the back half of the game.
Strike for Christensen. Putting the pressure on the Mustangs here.
And what is that, Brandon?
Is that the opposite washout?
Yep,
The flip side?
left-handers
Okay.
washout. You got it.
Neither side, it's the same, right?
Yep.
Washout either way.
Mirror image. That's a great shot. Yeah. One of the best bowlers in the state.
Things are getting very dangerous here for Millard North. 2 strikes in a row. Fremont with a pretty good lead.
Strike here would pretty much lock it up. That's going to be left. Brooklyn.
3 in a row for the Tigers, a 95-pin lead. They do have 3.5 more frames bowled, but as you mentioned, John, not looking great for the Mustangs at this point.
Yeah, can't mathematically eliminate Millard North yet, but a lot of pins here would help Fremont. 7's a bunch. Millard North must spare this. No. So, the fat lady's getting up, Brandon.
Well, there will be more celebration to come, but the Tigers have officially locked it, and it will be their second state championship in unified bowling this year and also in 2018. And if my memory serves me, John, I believe that was when we had the one-pin bowl-off.
That's right. That is it. But that's not going to happen today.
I'm sure the coaches and players prefer it that way.
I'm sure they do. The shot for Fremont's basically the victory lap, so whatever she gets is going to be enough.
The final ball for the Tigers in their championship game, a 199 to secure the Class A state championship. And Millard North in the 7th frame, and they'll just bowl to wrap things up. But congratulations to the Tigers.
Yeah, Millard North has nothing to be ashamed of. They bowled well all day. They beat 6 other teams to get to the show. That's the one thing everybody's keep in mind. Of course, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. But they'll be back.
Well, and credit to the Tigers, too. Talked to Jess before this one, and she said, you know, we've been in a couple of competitions that Millard North's been in, and we even ran up against them head-to-head once, and Millard North came out on top of that occasion, said we'd have to bowl well if we wanted to win. We're the 3 seed, and they certainly have bowled well here in the championship when it mattered most.
Yeah, 5 strikes by Fremont the last game. That's the most I think we've seen all day. Again, 199, I think is the highest score we've seen all day. So they definitely did it in style.
So this is Steve Rosenberger, and a player that brings a lot of energy to the team. There's going to be a lot of turnover from this Millard North team. You had Jeff Birkenthal, who's a junior, but will be just going to varsity next year. This is his last year of Unified. Addison DeBoer and also Elizabeth Molina. Talking to Coach Rode before this competition, said it was a special season for this group and everything they had a chance to be a part of throughout their many years. They finished 2019 runners-up. They made it to state 2016 and 18 as well as a program, and also 2020. So another good year for the Mustangs, just a bit short.
An open here will leave them in the 130s. A spare will get them to the 140s at least. It's got a chance.
Nice job on this spare pickup. One final ball here before this one's officially decided.
Not a bad score, Brandon. I mean, you know, we've seen 140s, 150s win other matches today. But 199 is just a tough one to beat.
So 9 fall on the final bowl of the game, but your final score 199 to 149. And Fremont, calm, cool, collected, but they are your Class A state champs, sweeping Millard North here in the championship round. So stay with us. Medal ceremony coming up. The Fremont Tigers, there's some cheers. It's official. They win and are Class A champs. We'll be back.
This is Nebraska, and this is how Nebraskans play. Teamwork, sacrifice, determination, excitement, frustration, triumph, and defeat. News Channel Nebraska covers it all. The best high school and college games year-round. This is Nebraska.
This is home.
Alrighty, guys. Anything else I can get for you?
I think we're good.
Okay, enjoy.
This looks amazing. Oh, He's with my bank. He gets a little taste of everything, all the time. Don't worry, you get used to it.
You should join Liberty First Credit Union. They have low loan rates, high deposit rates, and they share the profits with their members. So no one will take a bite. What's yours?
Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. When you want to wear your pride on your sleeve, true Nebraskans turn to NebraskaScreenPrinting.com for the latest screen printing and embroidery design. View hundreds of designs or upload your own for any school activity, sport, booster club, or business. We can do it all in whatever color your pride comes in. Get your group order in for your event or team at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com today for a fast and convenient turnaround. We're custom sports screen printing and embroidery at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com. Proud to be Nebraskan.
And welcome back. It's time for the awards ceremonies. Heath Kramer, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Nebraska School Activities Association is pleased to present medals and trophies to both of these outstanding teams. Presentations will be made by NSAA Executive Director Jay Beller and NSAA Board of Directors Kathy Wieskamp from Lincoln Public Schools, Thomas Lee from Omaha Westview, Special Olympics President Carolyn Chamberlain, Special Olympics Nebraska Board Chair Greg Harris, and U.S. Bank Representative Brian Schwieger. Here are the awards for runner-up, Millard North High School. Well, head coach Tricia Rohde, and your assistants, please come to the lane area to present the silver medals to your team. Participants, please come forward as your name is called. Jeff Birkenthal. Addison DeBoer. Emily Merton. Elizabeth Molina. And Stephen Rosenberger. For these outstanding participants in their school, here is the 2021 NSAA Class A State Unified Sports Bowling Runner-Up Trophy. Congratulations, Millard North High School.
Congratulations once again to the Millard North Mustangs. As you mentioned, John, beating out 6 other teams and finishing second here today, just behind Fremont.
Fremont High School.
And without further ado, the Tigers.
Sorensen, we have a special award for you. Coach Sorensen and your assistants, please hand out gold medals to your team. Participants, please come forward as your name is called. Haley Bates. Karina Capron. Emily Christensen. Cassie Credeville. And Kaylee McKenzie. For these outstanding athletes and their school, here is the 2021 NSAA Class A State Unified Sports Bowling Championship Trophy. Congratulations, Fremont High School.
Again, well done to Fremont. Haley Bates, Karina Capron, Emily Christensen, Cassie Crackleville, and Kaylee McKenzie. The sweep in at the state title alongside Jess Sorensen. It's the second time this program has brought home the gold.
Perennial powerhouse, Brandon Fremont. Both great today, so did Ogallala. We have 2 new state champions. It's been a great day of bowling.
Well, stay with us. We will hear from Coach Sorensen as a part of our post-game show, all coming up next here at Sun Valley Lanes and Games.
I was born and raised in Plainview. I grew up on a farm northeast of town. Was offered an opportunity to work for the bank in 2008. We had one kid at the time, another one on the way. Midwest Bank is very family oriented, to help make Plainview a great place to live. And so the opportunity to raise our kids in the town where my wife and I both grew up, where we feel safe, good schools, is just everything we were kind of looking for. I'm Kevin, and I'm proud to be a part of the Plainview community.
I lived all over the United States for quite a long time. There I learned a lot more about fresh sustainability. There's a lot more you can do in a small community like this that has a ton of possibilities ahead of it. One of the biggest hopes I have for the area we're in is being able to build a stronger, bigger, more viable community.
Hey, check this out. I can order ready-to-cook fresh meals from Venue delivered to my doorstep every week.
Thank you. Now all I have to do is pop it in the oven. Literally as simple as that. It's easy to make time for family and a delicious dinner.
Ace Street Market. Browse their selection of high-quality, fresh cuts of meat and the fresh, colorful produce. They have the variety you want and the service that keeps you coming back.
Ace Street. We found ourselves not able to attend our grandson's ball games. Those schools were providing us opportunities to actually watch those games. And we are in the midst of watching a basketball game when all of a sudden the last 2 to 3 minutes were becoming slowed. And that's when I knew that there was something better that was going to be out there. Allo did a great job, and as far as we were concerned, it couldn't come fast enough. If you are considering looking at Allo, I would get on their list right away.
News Channel Nebraska exists to unite the state of Nebraska. There are good things happening in rural Nebraska.
We find value in covering every single community.
All of Nebraska, from border to border.
And when people in Chadron understand what happens in York, everybody then understands what the goal and the mission is to move Nebraska forward as a single state.
Over the past year, the Nebraska Strong Recovery Project has been working around the state to provide support to Nebraskans impacted by COVID-19, from educators and essential workers to farmers and factory workers. Together, we are Nebraska Strong.
Good sportsmanship means being kind, respectful, and fair to everyone involved in the game.
We strive to create a positive environment in which all students can perform to the best of their abilities. We can accomplish this through good sportsmanship and encouraging a desire to succeed.
Your actions today are how you are perceived tomorrow.
Your character is worth more than any success or achievements you may have. Respect yourself, and most importantly, respect others.
This is Nebraska, and this is how Nebraskans play. Teamwork, sacrifice, determination, excitement, frustration, triumph, and defeat. News Channel Nebraska covers it all. The best high school and college games year-round. This is Nebraska.
This is home.
And welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes and Games. Joining us, the Class A Unified Bowling State Champs, head coach Jess Sorensen, as well as Emily Christensen, as the Tigers bring home the second Unified Bowling title in school history. So Jess, talked to you before all of this. You said Millard North is a tough team. Not sure. Well, you didn't say you weren't sure. You said we'd have to bowl well if we're going to beat them. And you guys bowled extremely well, sweeping them. So was that a surprise to you, I guess, first off?
Absolutely. I was in shock. The girls pulled out their A games and they really came to play.
Now, when you look at this journey today as a whole. You're the 3 seed, and you still come on and you knock off the number 1 to win it all. What changed, or what allowed you guys to bowl so well here in this when it mattered most?
The girls came in with an absolute positive mindset and were ready to bowl. They were excited. They got into the tournament on a wild card and came to bowl today and do their best.
Well, we're going to talk to one of those bowlers pretty soon. Emily, she's very excited to do this interview. What does she bring to this team, though, and what has she done for you?
Oh, man. Emily's come a long way this season. She gets a little nervous, gets a little in her head, but, man, today she came out and said, I've got this, I can do this, and she did. She bowled her best that I've seen her this season.
Well, Coach, thank you for the time. Congratulations. Let's bring Emily in here. All right, Emily told me she was extremely excited to do this, and she loves talking on camera. So, Emily, first off, let's talk about what you guys just did out there. 3 seed, you marked some frames. You had a stretch, I think, where you had 5 strikes in a row. What allowed you to contribute in the way that you did today?
I think it was the team who did that, and of course me, but I think we all came together in that.
Well, and that's ultimately why you brought home the state title. Now, how does that feel? I'm assuming pretty good that you're state champs.
Yes, it feels amazing that we came together as a team to win against Millard South.
Well, and Emily, when you're approaching the line and getting ready to bowl, can you kind of walk us through what's going through your head and what you're thinking as you get ready to throw it down the lane?
That's a little hard, but what's in my head is I gotta focus first, but think about what my position is going to be, then throw the ball.
Well, you did that. You did that very well here today. Emily, congratulations on being a state champion here for the Unified Bowling State Championship in 2021.
Thank you.
Emily Christensen, Coach Jess Sorensen, Fremont are your champs here at Sun Valley Lanes and Games. We'll come back, wrap things up here in Lincoln, but the Tigers are now 2-time Unified Bowling State champs.
Alrighty, guys, anything else I can get for you?
I think we're good.
Okay, enjoy.
This looks amazing. Oh, he's with my bank. He gets a little taste of everything, all the time.
Don't worry, you get used to it.
You should join Liberty First Credit Union. They have low loan rates, high deposit rates, and they share the profits with their members. So no one will take a bite of what's yours.
Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. When you want to wear your pride on your sleeve, true Nebraskans turn to NebraskaScreenPrinting.com for the latest screen printing and embroidery design. View hundreds of designs or upload your own for any school activity, sport, booster club, or business. We can do it all in whatever color your pride comes in. Get your group order in for your event or team at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com today for a fast and convenient turnaround. We're custom sports screen printing and embroidery at NebraskaScreenPrinting.com. Proud to be Nebraskan.
Welcome back, Brandon Axsmith, John Lucido. An action-packed day at Sun Valley Lanes and Games. 2 state champions crowned Ogallala in Class B, most recently Fremont in Class A. Let's take a look at some of the top plays from the day in that Class A competition. 16 teams in Class A and B, whittled down to two in Class A, and it would be top-seeded Millard North and number 3 seed Fremont battling in the championship round. Starting things off, a nice strike there for Emily Merton for the Mustangs, but answering right back for Fremont. Pretty good bowler, Karina Capron. That's Kaylee McKenzie, rather, and now we follow that up with Emily Christensen. Teams were trading blows in the first game. Emily Christensen, though, look at that, picking up the spare. Fremont takes game number 1, 158 to 125. The Tigers get out to the lead. Millard North, to their credit, also pretty good at picking up spares. That's Steven Rodenberger. Then you have Cassie Krakoville also marking in game number 2. The Tigers would take that one as well, 158 to 134. So consistency for the Tigers, bowling 2 158s. Here's Karina Capron, a very good bowler in her own right. knocking down all the pins there for the strike. And let's see it again. The Tigers turned things on in game number 3, slamming the door shut on Millard North. They had 6 straight frames of marks and win convincingly 199-149, a 50-pin advantage to get the sweep and win the program's second state title in school history. So your final point totals, 158-125, 158-134, and 199-149. John, the 3-seeded Tigers, they come out victorious, and we have more champions crowned. But overall thoughts and takeaways, not only from the Class A, but also Class B and everything we saw here today.
Fremont's always been tough. They continue to be tough. They're one of the best bowling schools in the state. Claiming their second title today is really not a lot of a surprise, but coming from the number 3 spot, it's a little bit more challenging. They did that very well today. They did it in style with a big game at the end, 199. Definitely state champion them, for sure. Ogallala, I mean, the proverbial warpath they went on today, first time showing up to the event, and boom, they're your state champion. That's tough to do, and tip of the hat to them for really pulling that off today.
Something else interesting of note, the fact that Fremont actually nearly missed out on this thing was a wild card that made it here, and I'm not sure, but I think that might have been the case for Ogallala too. Both of them getting here, or at least Fremont for sure.
There is a wild card program as a part of the NSA Unified Bowling event, and the team that finishes 7th and 8th in districts, in a sense, are the ones that finished 1-2 that didn't win across the state. They're the ones that earn the wild cards, and it's the, I want to say, the catch-all for the strong teams that might not necessarily win their event. They run into a powerhouse that's how they get in, and it seems to paid off for those 2 schools, because if they both got through here through the wild card, that's pretty impressive.
Well, that wraps up our coverage here for Unified Bowling at Sun Valley Lanes and Games. A reminder, this is a busy week for us at News Channel Nebraska. We have the State 1X coming up, streaming live on newschannelnebraska.com. That will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And of course, we have plenty of sports this week as well. It starts on Thursday, the next live sports broadcast, where we will be in Crete for Beatrice taking on the Cardinals. Also go to newschannelnebraska.com for our full sports broadcast schedule to know exactly where we'll be and when. A special thanks to our terrific camera crew and production crew, Lance, Skylar, Tyler Lechner, and Tyler Bersovsky for putting on everything here today. Special thanks to Dan Masters with the NSAA, as well as Carolyn Chamberlain with Nebraska Special Olympics, and John Lucido. Another big thanks to you for sharing your time and your expertise for this event.
My pleasure, Brandon. Thank you for having me, and we'll see you again.
Tune in for 1X at newschannelnebraska.com and more high school basketball on Thursday. That wraps things up here from Lincoln and the 2021 Unified Bowling State Championships.